Welcome back to Indian Trace. I am going to just kick this off. I'm going to do a box talk. Of course, you're here with me live. And you're looking at, of course, if you're brand new, you're going, what on earth is that? But many of you know already, this is just a bunch of stellar North American Indian artifacts. And I mean to tell you, we're going to do a box talk here because there's a couple subjects I want to talk to you about that are politically related. And I think in terms of joining in relation these ancient Indian artifacts and the world of politics, it's so important. I even try to study different avenues of politics every night about the North American Indian and the plight that they went through, past tense, and I never stop learning. I don't really get depressed in terms of the injustices that were committed against them by our government, because it's really the injustices that were committed against them by us, by humanity, by the citizens of this country who demanded it and who accepted it, who wanted it. And we'll leave it at that. So I've got a couple political interest thoughts I wanted to share today as I do a box talk and just go and do a flyover of my top shelf. Now, when I say top shelf, I want to share something with you all. You're going to hear a lot of things because the sound in here is perfect. But I promise you, these things are not touching each other any harder, than, how can I put it? I've said it before, but I'm just going to tell you, I've never chipped one. I've never found the remnants and little specks of flint or whatever in the bottom of any one of these trays when I clean them out. It just doesn't happen. There's good rhyolite, good quartz. It's real hard, and I don't jumble it up. So as I look at some of these pieces and check my time out, I do want to share a couple things about the top shelf. When I say top shelf, I meant the top trays in my tackle box. It's a good place to keep them for me because I can make the thing disappear if I happen to need to go on vacation. They go underground, 12 foot. You'll never find them. You don't know what woods they're in. And that could have been just something to lure you off. They're underground, that's for sure. But we'll leave it at that. Top shelf means that when you hear me say that and mention, it means the very top bins of this 7-tray tackle box. Now underneath here, you all know that there are 7 trays altogether plus the bottom. So that aside, we're going to take a look at some of the things and fly over some of the bins in the top and take a look at some of the pieces that I found this year as I mentioned things. We might pick them up, we might not. That is a piece I found recently that was just unbelievable piece at Mecca. What a find that was in rhyolite. And as I do that, let me make mention of these political interest thoughts. I am putting up 2 links on this one video for political interest because they're related to one another. They're 2 interviews. Look how red my hands are from working outside and washing the cars today. Believe it or not, here in eastern North Carolina, as we look at this piece, which to me is just staggering. I was humbled and staggered when I found it in the sweet potatoes this year at Mecca. But it's about 80 degrees, 78 degrees here in North Carolina. Can you believe it? In February. Look at that piece. I still don't even know what to think about a lot of these pieces. I just don't know. I never imagined you could locate these. I mean, I went to college where I am right now, and it wasn't a thought in my head, even though I was interested in the plight of the North American Indian. Here's another piece as we just do a box talk. A marl mountain found at Mecca as well. Mecca's huge though, so they're different areas. I know specifically where they were. Now this one happens to come fairly close to this, probably 150 yards difference. But this Milo Mountain was particularly interesting, and a smoker that I found this calendar year. That means in 2016, but within reach in a calendar year. Just unbelievable. Here are the 2 things. The reason I'm putting 2 posts, like I said, it's a related interview. Look at that piece, will you? That's Marl Mountain 101 for you. Interesting enough, this bin right here are some of my very top favorites, like top G10 favorites for me. I like that. If we went through this, it would be just piece after piece from there that just are staggering to me. That just find a place in my favorites, in my brain, that is. See what I mean? So the two videos are two interviews that I think are essential. And I want to tell you this about them, and I challenge you to watch them. Because if you've been up in the news, or if you do any alternative news seeking, you'll see trending over the 40 million mark is an individual whose first name is Milo. His last name is Yiannopoulos. He is the one, supposedly, that they said caused the riots at Berkeley just recently. Although it wasn't him. It was the protest of free thought and free speech, which these two interviews are going to detail with excellence in journalism. Alex Jones brought him on channel to interview him, and they had such a fantastic talk on the two interviews, which each are about 20 minutes. He's just, you're going to be educated. You're going to learn, because you see, the circles that I hang out in with now, you're not going to find a Milo type, who's an excellent individual in terms of what he does to support the First Amendment, to support the Constitution of the United States. Now you're seeing some of these things as we fiddle through. Now this one was from, look at this little piece. This is from the Cove. I was there the other day. Puts out some nice stuff. And I'll never forget, usually, the stuff I put in my collection box, I never forget where they come from. Like this piece came from the Archaic. If I can get a focus on it, you see how small it is in terms of my finger. Archaic pieces. Now Milo, I'm not going to find him in my circles because he is gay, happy to be gay. If you follow the story, you might know him well. You might know of him already. His book is blowing off every top seller list, not because of popularity, because what's popular that he's talking about is free speech, is freedom, is nationalism, the exact same thing that has recently won the White House. So yes, it is politically charged stuff. Look at this I found at the Lookout. See him on a mountain like that? Just good stuff, right? Most of the time in bins, such as my top shelf bin, you can't really reach in there without picking out something that's just either interesting or, for one reason or another, it just strikes curiosity. Just good stuff. Now, why did I choose the two interviews, especially the one? Now, I'm getting distracted when I look at these artifacts. So now Milo, the reason why I'm not going to find him hanging out is because he's gay. He's happy to be gay. He's a libertarian. More than that, he's a constitutionalist who supports the Constitution of the United States, especially freedom of speech. He'd be fine to come over here and me say, listen, I can agree with you on this, agree with you on that, but in terms of being a homosexual, and that's the lifestyle you choose, I cannot myself support that. I cannot live that way. I can't even promote that with my kids or give them that as a consideration for their own lifestyle, for many reasons. For me, of course, it's religious. It's based on my relationship to God and what He said about it. Not to mention in terms of science, fatalistic relationship, in terms of productivity, in terms of bearing fruit. Every tree, every animal on this earth designed to bear fruit. Though if you decide you want to have a relationship with the same sex, you two will never bear fruit, and soon enough you both die with no inheritance. And to me, life here on this earth is all about inheritance. Okay, we're getting tied up in that. I won't get too much into that political thought, but the awesome thing about Milo is that he would have some great points on that. He would be unoffended. He would be completely supporting in the idea, the thoughts that I just shared, while on the other hand, there is a section, a small minority in this country who would absolutely have fits if they heard me say what I just did. They'd have fits. They wouldn't even be able to stand it. They'd have tantrums, and they'd want to commit acts of violence against you just for feeling that way, for believing that way, for thinking that way. No, Milo doesn't, which is fantastic as an individual. Now, think about it. Alex Jones interviewed him, and Alex Jones is quite clear and open that the Lord Jesus Christ is his Lord and Savior. Although Milo Yiannopoulos came on the show and just had a great time with him, a great interview. Praise went back and forth between the two of them, and that's why you got to check out these interviews. It's just profound to see people able to support freedom, good ideas, good minds, good thoughts and to support a person's personal choice to live a certain life without judging them, without hating them, without hurting them, without wanting to kill them because they tell you that this is a certain way they want to live. So the virtue of it you'll understand, and they both have a lot of humor. And it's pretty hardcore in terms of the way that they think. Look at this piece from Beaver Point. Just a Box Talk Live. Pretty hardcore, the discussion that they have. You're going to see adult discussion, some great humor, just some great realities about the different communities that we all represent. We all represent different communities of thought, and we should allow those communities of thought to exist, even if we don't agree with them. And see, that is what the First Amendment is all about, which is what a certain particular party that was thrown out on its ear in the House and the Senate and in this last presidential election does not support, which is clear. Because if you decide you're going to have free thought and you're going to share your own idea, you're going to get torn up about it. You're going to be called every name in the book, which is clear. That's a nice Guilford Yuma, isn't it? And so I don't want to dare you, because if you do that, that's what's going to happen. They're going to come after you every time. Oh, here's a piece from Opening Sands. I always love this style. It's my Riot band for the most part. Just a fantastic piece. What I always love is the relief here on the backside. So the double interview, which means that they just had to make it into two because it was hot. They were doing fantastic, and they were having a good time, will shock you. Because we're talking about two conservatives, one who is openly and happily gay, I mean completely gay, and another in Alex Jones, who is conservative, hardcore, sort of a macho type, sort of a completely zealous, passionate nationalist, if you will. It's just funny to see the number one, the support that they have for each other's personal freedom. That came from Notchville. Nice point, right? Support they have for their own personal freedom. And that's profound. That you can just simply support a person's choice, support their thinking and believing a certain way. See, isn't that funny? There's another Marble Mountain just like this one. Same size, same shape, of course. And I think you will be changed, because most of the time we have reserved ourselves to stay in our own circles from Hidden Hill right here and not venture out. Many of us are open and honorable to support other people's free choices and the choices that they make for their life. As I told my son who's in college, my older son, this the other day, I said, the interesting thing about Milo, because he is a rage on every college campus from here to California. I mean, completely sold out, completely booked to hear his lectures about the First Amendment, about nationalism, about constitutional ethics, about freedom of speech. And at the same time, he's not pushing for anyone, not you or anyone, to be homosexual, although he is. And in the rage for it, you'll understand when you watch. What I think is profound is that there is a merging in terms of support and freedom across this nation for people who have like minds for the nation and what it stood for. Freedom of religion, a freedom to pursue happiness, to be free to choose what lifestyle you want, as long as it's not affecting and doesn't change, it doesn't hurt, it's not forced upon other people. Isn't that an awesome point from Mecca? Unbelievable. Very beginning of 2016 I found that. It's just been a favorite for me. Craziness. Look at the relief on the back. So if that wasn't enough introduction and encouragement to check out those two links here on my political interest, I don't know what it is. I mean, you'll know. I want you to drop me a note back and look down here, and it's loud. You can hear it, can't you? They're not hitting each other that hard. This is a piece from the Archaic. I want you to drop me a note. Let me know about those interviews after you've watched them. It'll influence you to see the meeting of the minds of people who have, and I think the second interview, he's actually speaking with a conservative, young African-American guy, a black guy, who's just awesome. He's new on the news channel, Alex Jones channel, which has a lot of different reporters from a lot of different demographics, which is another profound thing, who believe one thing together. Now, not everything together. They don't just march in stock just because everybody else is thinking this. They don't get a talking points memo that they have to follow, like so many of the pitiful modern news medias telling the same story. We don't even need to recognize their names here. Here's a Beaver Point. It's from Beaver Point. This is a stellar piece. Gets more stellar every single year. I understand how precious it is. Found at Beaver Point. So on the Alex Jones channel, with the council of reporters, with the council of people who go out on the street and interview people and talk to them with an open mind to find out how they feel, what they think, what they believe, to let them reason about it, to let them make their arguments. See, that's what America is about. Allowing others to make their argument, allowing others to live free, and supporting them in that choice, even if you don't support them in their ideas, you don't support them in their beliefs. There's no reason to do harm to them. There's no reason to hurt them. There's no reason to wish them ill will. Now, if you think your ideas are best, let your ideas win. Let your ideas persuade people to change the way they live. And that includes, for me, being a Christian. And so it's profound now, the movement that's sweeping across this country to support just what I'm talking about. People are getting it. The people that are getting it and promoting it are probably the same ones who just enforce an absolute, oh my goodness, forgot about this one at Notchville, an absolute majority, staggering majority, changed our complete political scene. It is such a historic time to be alive. So I wanted to share some political interest thought today and make this box talk. Haven't made one in a little bit just because the weekend's been here and I hadn't found a whole lot. Here's an interesting point I found at Southside. Don't find too many of these here in North Carolina. I haven't found too many. Just really bifurcated and really serrated. Interesting day to find that. Looking around at things. Look at this point right here. This was found at Sand Passage. Some of you guys really just love the translucent stuff. I mean, I love it. It's just that everything here, if it's quartz, is translucent. I don't want to say I get used to it, but it becomes expected in some ways. Still just as awesome no matter what, isn't it? Don't know if the exposure's coming in. Good stuff. So as I finish up here, please do. I challenge you. If you want to learn a little bit more, you want to be educated about what's going on politically, both geopolitically and in our own nation, check these interviews out. They will change you because it's modern thought. And why these? Here's the best argument I can make. Every college campus, and there's a ton, he's sold out, he's booked out for 2 years down the road, and every single one that has invited him it's sold out. You have to reserve your thing. You can't even get in. The college kids are absolutely exploding in their ability to understand freedom and of course, the First Amendment, freedom of speech, and many other principles concerning that that are aside from needing to be a bigot, aside from needing to control the way people think or to control the way somebody lives. And kids are starting to get that, and they're like, hey, wait, this is not what I've been hearing, but this is the truth. And when you know the truth and you hear the truth, it sets you free. Here's the bottom line reason why you might want to check him out. It's going to change you. Milo, with his channel and his hits, is far over, in 1 week's time, 40 million hits. Same with Alex Jones. Same with the ones I mentioned about Joe Rogan and the things that are going on with him. It's an explosion, an incredible time to be alive if you want to follow the rhythm of it all. Here's a favorite piece that I never let go. So I just invite you to follow the rhythm of it all and check it out. You came here for the interest in these Indian artifacts, and I just wanted to share some today. I mean, they're just great pieces to take out once in a while, especially the Sunday afternoon, and just check them all out, right? All right, I think that's about it. I don't know the best way to finish this, but I hope you find out there. Moral Mountains are just great points. Here's a point from Saponi. I'll probably finish with this. I could talk a lot more about it all, but I think I really generated at least enough of a promotion for the links on my political interest. Great point here. This will finish it, I know, if I can find the right angles. Always love this. And you can see many of the points are not absolutely perfect balanced, like a 7mm Remington mag, but these are completely awesome ancient Indian stone points. Contact point for being politically active. If we're not, I promise you, somebody's going to come along and try to tell you what freedom is and take yours away. And you can't stand for that. As New Hampshire's motto goes, finish it with a good still shot. As New Hampshire's motto goes, live free or die. Appreciate you tuning in to Indian Trace. Hope you find out there.